Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. That presentation was something else. Yeah, I would have rather had a true Nintendo Direct. A full presentation where they would have shown off what they have coming in 2020 across the board. Animal Crossing New Horizons, thumbs up. Some ports, okay. What else you got? January's the time where they were supposed to announce the plans for the following year, and instead they put forth a Pokemon Direct. I hate to say it, but that Direct was perfect. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switch Force, and I'm blown away. I'm blown away. I did not think there was a way I could walk out of that and say the show was perfect. I really didn't. I was like, what could they possibly announce? They're going to talk about sleep and home, maybe a little bit of an update to Sword and Shield, get some Detective Pikachu Switch details, and boom, shakalaka. Instead, they come through with what I feel is one of the most exciting presentations they've ever put forth, because it does so much, and it did it in such a wonderful way. Let me know in the comments down below how you felt about that Direct. Did it blow you away? Did it take your expectations and throw them off the Empire State Building? Or were you disappointed? I don't know how you could be, but if you were, I'd love to hear from you as well. Hit that like button if you enjoy that the 2020 season of Nintendo is officially underway. I am floored. It started off a little bit rocky, I thought. Getting a new Pokemon Rescue Team game, like, okay, that's exciting, but it would be much better if it was new. In fact, it's a port, and in fact, it's $60. So yeah, it's kind of combining two games into a DX version, and people like Mystery Dungeon, but okay, I don't know, maybe. At least it's coming in March, so it's not affecting the mid to second half of the year where we know Nintendo loves to drop their big, bold titles. But the Sword and Shield thing, I think they executed to perfection. First off, the trailer to show off the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra, maybe one of my favorite Nintendo trailers of all time. And that's saying a lot, because they goofed, and at least on YouTube, I saw the same trailer, at least parts of it, 3 times. It kept airing and it kept cutting. I don't know what was going on at the stream. I'm sure that the presentation on their end was perfect, and then they upload it or they stream it and it got goofy. Also, the Direct ended like 30 seconds before it was supposed to. It just cut out. Technical difficulties aside, and in spite of technical difficulties, it was amazing. That trailer, it almost felt like a Marvel movie trailer, or for something far grander. And I think that was what I loved, was that they made you feel like the world of Pokemon is so massive, and that they are adding pieces to the puzzle from multiple directions. I loved how they just rotated through different Pokemon, and new exciting discoveries, and new trainers, and new gyms, and the new areas, and the new cosmetic items. And the way that those were put together, I thought, was just tantalizing. It made me want to go buy those expansions immediately. And I love that they're doing true DLC for Sword and Shield. And that they specifically called out, like, hey, we've done Platinum before, we've done Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, we're going to do something different, and we're going to allow you to keep the same game and expand beyond the end of the story. And they've done little bits of that before, but not to this level. And maybe one day they do come out with a third version of Sword and Shield, but I personally like this so much better. One, it's cheaper. It's $30, and you get 2 different components to the expansion pass. You've got the Isle of Armor releasing in June, probably going to tie right around E3. I wouldn't doubt if it would be an E3, like, day of their Direct drop. And then you've got the Crown Tundra, which is coming in fall, a nice thing to keep Pokemon fans satiated and happy right before Christmas. $30, so that's a win. Both areas are wild area style, where they're expansive, seamless areas. Now that has me a little concerned, because how big can they be if they're going to be seamless, and will they feel trite and like you can kind of explore them all very quickly, as opposed to ones that have different, spaces and different locations. But I love that it's expanding upon one of my favorite parts of Pokemon Sword and Shield, one of the best evolutions, which is that free camera. And where you feel like you're fully immersed in a 3D, go anywhere, spin wherever you want Pokemon world. And they've got new ideas and new storylines and new legendaries. And in the Crown Tundra, they're bringing back tons of legendaries. In fact, they're bringing back over 200 Pokemon. This is their answer to those of you that are still upset about the National Dex controversy. I feel like they tied so much together here in such a wonderful way. And Nintendo typically doesn't do things in a style that, like, is very forward thinking or very, cohesive in a way that is very, like, it kind of just touches on everything. And here I felt they nailed that, where they're like, okay, here are the passes coming out. We're going to show you a lot about them, which, by the way, it started off sounding like we were going to get very little. They're like, hey, we have a few details, check them out. And then we get massive trailers. We get to see Gigantamax forms of the the final evolutions of the starters. Spoilers, by the way. Did anyone ask if I wanted to see those guys? They didn't, but hopefully you already knew. If you're watching this Pokemon Direct, hopefully you already knew who your starter turns into. They show off, old Pokemon changing. They have a little bit of like mystery and intrigue where they show off the Slowpoke, and then the Galarian Slowpoke, and then he can evolve, but you don't know fully what he's going to do. It's going to be some sort of Slowbro, some sort of Slowking. Can't see it completely. I love that like tease. And then they're introducing the characters and Slowpoke today. That is masterful, and it's such a nice way of hyping without being empty. Right? It's like your caloric intake actually has some substance to it, and you're not just eating filler foods, because now you can go grab that Galarian Slowpoke, and you're going to wait and anticipate. And look, you get that Galarian Slowpoke, you go and see one of the trainers chilling at the station. You're telling me you're not going to pre-order the expansion pass? You're telling me you're not going to find out who Slowpoke can evolve into? I wonder if they're going to sell the expansion passes separate. It's $30 for both. Are they going to do 20 each? Are they going to do 15 each? How are they going to work that? I feel like they did a great job with the Breath of the Wild DLC and taking Zelda and saying, hey, we are going to give an expansion pass that is worthy of any modern game on any console from any company. And Mario Odyssey was a step backwards because they introduced Luigi's Balloon World and they gave us costumes, but they didn't give us the new world that we wanted, the new full level. They didn't dive back into Isle Delfino or do something really nostalgic and really grand. They kind of completely missed the mark. And so for any of us, it could have been a complete miss for Pokemon Sword and Shield. They could have gone back to their old ways, and yet, just when I think, when they announced the Pokemon Direct, I said, just when I think Nintendo is turning the corner, they do something that I'm like, oh gosh, they'll never learn. And then again, just when I think they'll never learn, they turn the corner. And this DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield is a true step forward. It shows that they're taking this franchise and taking their mentality for DLC and expansive content to a new place. And how it all ties together from the moment today, you can go grab the update, Slowpoke, and the characters, and tease you until you're ready to get the expansion pass, and then they're ready to release, and they're themed, and they've got story, and they got new, incredible Pokemon that the stories are tied around. They're bringing back legendaries, and they're adding new co-op, and they're adding new items, and they're bringing back over 200 Pokemon that you know and love, that you've been waiting for and wishing were in this game, realized in this incredible art style and in this incredible game. I think this is the best case scenario for what we could have got today. And honestly, it was a fantastic presentation. It was so fun, glitches and all. It was so cool to see, like, hey, this almost feels like spin-off movies or spin-off games and major expansions. They're not just like, oh, hey, we're adding a few Pokemon. Oh, hey, we've added a new battle tower. Oh, hey, now you can find this Gigantamax form. They're like, no, we're going to give you 2 big areas, and we're going to fill them with things. It's still unclear of, like, are there gyms? They talk about Mustard, the old man, the former champion who's training you and who you're going to kind of live under his tutelage in the Isle of Armor. Are there going to be other gyms, or are you just going to be battling against your rival as you progress? And then with the Crown Tundra, they wouldn't name the character, but it looks like it's that wintry Mount Everest type dude who's leading you on this expedition. And is it just getting to those legendary dens, or are you are there going to be gyms, or are you defeating specific characters? And then they're adding end game content even beyond this end game. So it's forward thinking even beyond the expansion pass. They've got the free update, so if you don't get the expansion pass, you still are able to access those Pokemon, whether it's from trades within Sword and Shield or from pushing them from Pokemon Home, as long as they're going to be in, the expansions. And Pokemon Home is launching in February, and they spent like 5 seconds on it. So you get a new game out of this Direct. Well, it's a port of an old game, and it's probably overpriced, but that's what Nintendo does. And for some of you, that's going to be enough because you remember those games from Game Boy Advance and DS, and you're excited and nostalgic. That isn't me, but I know some people are happy about that. I'm happy because they're using it in March. They're using it in the same month as Animal Crossing New Horizons, which means it's not carrying a month, which means it's not trying to dilute the fall, which means it's getting out of the way, which tells me that they have more, better, bigger, newer for the second half of the year. And we may have to wait a couple weeks or even a month or maybe even 2 months to find out from a Direct, but I'm still annoyed. I'm still annoyed that I have to wait, but today's show, you can't blame the outcome and success of today's show on Nintendo's other decisions. Judging this show, this Direct for what it was, I thought it was amazing. And I love those trailers. I'm so curious if you guys love those trailers. The way that they spun the tale and showed you. It was almost like I said, like a freaking Marvel Universe movie trailer. It felt like everything was coming together. It felt heroic. It felt epic. And that's what they needed to do with Pokemon. That was what we wanted for them to expand and build. And they did in the wild area. And certain areas of the game absolutely did not feel like it. But I love that they're focusing on the elements and the aspects that made these games new and doubling down. In fact, I wonder how much of this just wasn't or was intended or wanted to be part of the initial game and just wasn't possible. Or if it was DLC all along, it might have been, but it's curious to think, what if they had multiple wild areas? What if they had multiple of these areas you could explore with the free camera and wandering around, and they were seamless and didn't load and changed with weather and had different Pokemon? How many of those did they maybe want to put in the game and just weren't possible as they built this project? It's a little interesting that the expansions are separate for Sword or Shield. They made sure to hammer that point home all the way through. I kind of thought maybe they would go with one unified expansion, how they have done with Platinum, but then I guess Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon are two specific versions based on the two original specific versions. So here, if you did want technically all the content, it'd be $60. But I appreciate that Sword and Shield are going to have some different Pokemon, are going to have some different characters, some different NPCs, maybe even some different ways that the story unfolds. And I think that's nice. I think it's better, and I think it, for the extreme hardcore who bought that double pack at launch, it gives you a chance then, I guess, if you wanted to play through this twice in two sort of different ways. If you're ultra committed to spending $180, now you're looking at basically buying 3 games. You buy Sword, you buy Shield, you buy both expansions. It's $180, which is buying 3 games, 3 Switch games, not 3 DS or 3 3DS games. And that was the initial intention of the third game in a generation, and now you've received and achieved that. Or you can do, hey, I buy one of Sword and Shield, I buy one expansion, and then you're not paying full price, which is the route I will go, and I think the route many of you will go. But I thought this was fantastic, and there's a plan. It shows that this is well thought out, and the fact that they're announcing it so soon after. Remember, the games came out mid-November. It's now the beginning of January. It's 2020, and they're saying, hey, yeah, it's a long ways away. You got to wait almost 6 months, which is kind of crazy. But I love that they say, hey, we may not have it ready until June, but we're going to show it to you now so you know this is coming, so you don't dump the cartridge, so you don't feel like you got burned, so you know that if you're missing a specific Pokemon from the National Dex, there's a good chance it's coming back. So if you're excited and jonesing to hunt legendaries, you're going to be able to do it in this world. If you wanted more of the wild area, there are 2 more effectively wild areas coming your way. And if you cannot wait, we're starting it today with Slowpoke, and please stay tuned, because what will he evolve into? You got a choice. You want to take him to Slowbro, it's going to be with an Isle of Armor, or if you're ultra patient and want to wait until the Crown Tundra, you can evolve him into a Galarian Slowking. And we don't know what his face looks like, but it's probably pretty cool if they were covering it. Plus, you get to meet the characters and see them in the world today. That's such advanced. It's not ARG level, but it's like approaching that, where it's like, hey, we're teasing our project ahead. Amazing companies do this. Think about how Pixar puts little nods to their past movies within their future movies. I love that. And this isn't identical, but it's a parallel mentality of, we're going to tease the DLC the day we announce it for a future date. And you get some, I think, clothing when you pre-order if you want. It was kind of unclear because, like I said, the Direct did cut off, but they may have messed up the stream. They may have messed up at Nintendo by not putting a Nintendo Direct forth to satiate and give us some idea of what we can buy, but taking this as it is, from Game Freak, the Pokemon Company, and the Pokemon franchise, I thought this Direct was perfect. I thought it was the most... to me, it's more exciting than the games themselves, because it shows that they're advancing beyond what the games were before, and it has me excited for the future. Gen 9 is a ways away, but goodness gracious, those games are probably going to be amazing if we want to give a little big look ahead to the future. Right now, we've got Sword and Shield, pretty cool games, remedying the things people, were the most skittish about, adding more that shows that they focused on what is changing, and I think bridging the gap to, honestly, a brighter, bigger future for Pokemon. So let me know in the comments down below how you felt about this Direct. I'm shocked that I after the Direct, it's 10 a.m. now, and I'm sitting here saying it's amazing, but I feel great. I cannot wait to play these things. I cannot wait to hear your take, so give it to me in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. The first presentation Direct is in the books. And now the next one we have to look forward to has got to be that Nintendo Direct. So that in and of itself is exciting. Until next time, everybody, I love you a lot. Have an exciting, awesome day. Switch Force out.